Well, howdy folks. Welcome to Texas Cooking Today. I'm Stuart Trotter, your host. Today we're going to be preparing some wonderful, delicious food. And what you're watching here, this is one of my tutorials. So if you're looking for all of the answers and all of the details about this recipe, you found the right video. If you just need the recipe, watch the previous episode. That's what that is. And thank you very much for watching. Now, let's get into this. Now guys, we're about to get into the kitchen to make us some Chipotle barbecue sauce. Now we've got ribs out here, they're smoking up and it's going to be some delicious barbecue. But you know, when you're finished making your barbecue, having that special sauce to offset the beautiful flavors of the meat and the smoke, that's special. Let's get in there and get busy soaking those chilies so we can make us the best barbecue sauce you've ever tasted. This is Chipotle barbecue sauce, Texas style. Guys, it's about Chipotle chilies. A Chipotle chili, what is that? Let me pull one out of my pile here. There we go. I've got another kind of chili here too. This right here, this is what's called a Chipotle chili. This is another chili I'm going to use in this. It's called a guajillo, okay? The proportions on this, 2 to 1, okay? That's all there is to it. Now, if you don't find the guajillo chili, that's Guajillo. If you don't find a guajillo chili, use a New Mexico chili or a California chili. They are a good substitute to this when it comes to making a Chipotle barbecue sauce. So this sort of becomes a base on which this flavor is stacked on top of. It makes it fruity with this one. It makes it woody, smoky, and a bit hot with this one. A Chipotle isn't an actual chili plant, guys. No, Chipotles are jalapeno peppers that have been smoked and then dried, and that makes that right there. That's a Chipotle chili. There's no such thing as a Chipotle bush, okay? That's all there is to it. So Chipotle chilies in the can, basically that's just a smoked jalapeno that has been then packed in adobo sauce, which is a whole different kind of chili sauce. I would say don't bother with that. You need to get the dried version for this sauce to work right. Now in addition, I'm also going to be using some sugar, some lime juice, and some cumin, also a bit of salt to bring out flavor. Now we're going to be adding water to this. Some people do like to use bourbon when making this. So if you're one of those that kind of likes a little bit of a bourbon kick in your barbecue sauce, add a quarter, half a cup of bourbon to this recipe and you're going to get that wonderful little woody bourbon-like flavor. Don't worry, the alcohol will cook off, but you're going to be left with the flavor and it's really good. So guys, let's get in making this. We have to take these chilies and get them soaked in order for this recipe to work. We soak them and then we run them through a food mill. Let's get busy. Now guys, I need to get these prepared to soak. I could just throw them in the hot water, but what works best is if I take my chilies and just gently slice them open, just like that. And what this does is it just allows the water to get up inside of that chili and it soaks it out and it makes that inner skin puff up, okay? So I recommend you do that to each of your chilies. This isn't all of my chilies, by the way. This is a little less than half of them. So anyway, once you've done this to all, get them down in a bowl and get them soaking in hot water. And there they are, folks. We have them all sliced. I have them down in some hot water. This is just hot tap water. You don't have to boil water or anything like that, just as long as you give it a good start. And I want to kind of turn these so that the ones on top will get down in the deeper water and will soak well. On the average, these usually take 2 to 3 hours to really soak well and to get truly puffed up on the inside. And that's what we're looking for. We're not in a rush on this. It's just give it the time it takes to do it right. After that, we will then process these chilies, and we're going to process them through a food mill and through the small sieve of a food mill. So if you don't have a food mill, you might want to look that up and find out about those guys, because they really make the best chili paste you're ever going to make. And this can't be done the same way in a blender. Some people try, but it just doesn't come out the same. And I'll explain the reasons behind that later. We'll get into that in a little bit. So here we are, they're soaking. Give it time. Guys, our chilies have finished soaking out, and now it's time to process these. Now, to produce a really good quality chili paste from these wonderful chilies, what I want is just the material on the inside of that skin. I don't want the skin, I don't want the seeds, just that pulp right there. Now, to get that, I'm going to need something that makes life a little easier. If I run it through a blender, I'm going to get little pieces of that skin in my in my chili product. There's no way I can get around that. But if I do this with a food mill, one of these guys, well, food mills are really cool. In this case, we're going to use the small sieve on a food mill, and once we've processed these through these fine holes, it's going to produce the finest chili paste that you've ever seen. And the nice thing about doing it this way, guys, you get no skins, you get no seeds, nothing other than just the pulp, which is only the part that we really want. And it processes it in such a way that it makes it very easy to turn into other things. So if you don't own a food mill, it's time to get one. Now guys, when you're putting a food mill together, this is something that, a lot of the times the instructions don't tell you very well. When you're putting one of these together, you have a paddle, and there's an open side, and of course there's the paddle side. And there's this little bar here that usually holds everything in place with a spring, and of course this, and then there's a peg on the bottom of this that fits in that hole. So that's what we do. We put that there, and I'm going to hook the far side first. Then I want the open side of the paddle, this side here, facing toward me. So when I push down, there's no resistance on that spring, okay? It also will not dent my plate in the bottom. If your paddle is in this position and you try to force this down, you can dent your plate. Don't do that. So now all I have to do is just get my chilies down inside of this. So I'm going to pull the top off of the chilies and just drop them down in there. I'll probably break them into quarters, something like that. So if you would, just go ahead, get yours all loaded up the same way I'm doing. Pull that stem off, discard it. You can wash the seeds out if you wish. And it's not hard. All right? You may end up putting more chilies than your food mill can hold, so you might have to process part of this and then process the second part. Okay, I'm going to keep doing this, and when I get this full, we'll show you what it looks like to process out some of these chilies. And guys, these food mills really don't take that long. Even though I'm using the finer sieve, it's going to process this fairly quick. One of the things I like about food mills is they're so efficient, and they do a remarkable job when it comes to producing a fine quality product. Now guys, once you get a substantial amount of chilies built up in your food mill, just go to milling it, and it's going to take just the shortest bit of time. So as you can see, it's pulling those chilies right down into that paddle. Well, let me show you exactly what it's doing. It's producing this beautiful chili paste, that right there. And it has just begun. So there's going to be a lot of chili paste when I am finished milling this. It's actually a surprising amount. And the amount of sauce that makes is considerably more. Now guys, at some point you're going to end up with something that looks like this. And basically what this is the majority of my chilies have been processed now. I've got the pulp out from the inside of them. The skins and the seeds are all left behind, and that is what I want. What I need to do now is get the chili paste I have that's on the bottom of this off of it, and then dump some of these, process the rest of them. And that's how I have to do this. Okay, let's take a look. Look at that. Look at that chili paste, guys. That's what we're going for. And the amount down in the pot, oh wow, it's about 1.5 inches deep down in the pot right now. So there's a lot in there. Now I'm going to dump these and start by putting more fresh ones in there. There we go. Now I don't have to get all of them out, just as long as there's plenty of space for me to work getting the rest of my chilies down in this. Guys, we have this wonderful chili paste that we produced. Look at all of that. I have well over a quart of chili paste here. Beautiful, beautiful product. I need now to take this and we're going to spice it up. We're going to season it a little bit. So let's start right here. I'm going to start with my cumin. And I'm going to put in 1 tablespoon of my cumin. Bam, right there. And a bit of salt. We're going to need salt in this, so we're going to start with right about 1/2 to 3/4 of a teaspoon. And I'm going to switch from this to a whisk. That way I get everything combined really well. Now guys, you're also going to have to thin this a little bit. And I mentioned earlier, if you want to use bourbon, you can put bourbon in this. If you want something unique, try tequila. There's all kinds of different flavors you can add to this if you want. You don't have to. Just go plain water if you want just the chipotle sauce, okay? I'm going to start by working in 2 cups of water. Don't worry, this chili paste, it takes a lot of liquid to thin it down. Remember earlier I mentioned that we were going to be adding some sugar to taste. Go ahead and start working a little of that in. Doesn't take a lot, just a few tablespoons, guys, to start with. And that lime juice, okay? I have about 1/4 of a cup of lime juice there. Now that lime juice is just a different acid that brings out other flavors in our chili. Uh-oh, you caught me. There I go flavoring it up. Didn't put a lot in there, just a little bit, and I think it enhances the character of this. So here we have a beautiful sauce that we've created. And guys, when you look at this, you're looking at this point, we're getting close to 2 quarts of actual product here. All right, now I just need to bring this up in temperature, get it cooked up. We're going to taste it. If I need more sugar after it has cooked for a little bit, I'm going to add more sugar. And that's really the big item that I'm going to have to adjust on this. There may be a little bit of salt or lime juice added. That'll depend on its flavor, and that'll depend on what it tastes like after about 10 minutes of simmering. So bring it up in temperature slowly, guys. Let it simmer off, and you're going to have the best tasting barbecue sauce you've ever put in your mouth. Look at this, not a bit of tomato product here. This is all chili. Why make tomato paste and or why use tomato paste and try to make it taste like chili paste with chili powders? Why not just do this? Oh, there we go. Let's get some of that barbecue sauce up in there. I'm seeing bones protruding from the meat. Oh yeah. This is what we do to make it special. Right here. Yeah. There we go, guys. Now I'm going to let that glaze over and let delicious happen. Well, guys, you saw those ribs and you saw that sauce. That is some beautiful Chipotle barbecue sauce. It works well on brisket, on ribs, on pork shoulder, whatever you want to put it on, guys. If it's barbecue, that sauce is going to work on it. Now remember, this is a Chipotle barbecue sauce, so it's going to be a little spicy. If you're going to write in and ask me, can I make this without it being spicy? Well, do you know of some way to make jalapenos not spicy? Chipotle's not spicy? No. They're spicy, guys. So is this sauce, okay? But it's not overwhelming spicy. It's actually a pleasant heat with a delicious, sweet, fruity flavor that's somewhat smoky on the backside. It is a really good sauce. So please give this one a try, and thank you very much for watching Texas Cooking Today and for watching this episode. Guys, I would like to say thank you to my subscribers also. I really appreciate you folks doing that. And if you haven't subscribed, well, please do. Click that bell. That way you know when I'm putting out new stuff, which is every week. Also, if you haven't done so, please click the like button. That does help me out in the Google search the Google search engine. Yeah, that's it. And also, please write in. I do accept requests. If you have comments, suggestions, or just something pleasant or hateful to say, if you would, type it in down there in the comments, and I answer a lot of those. If you read through them, you'll notice how many I answer. So guys, do one last thing for me, and please, just have a good day. Bye-bye. Well, there it is, guys. Texas Cooking Today tutorial. Thank you very much for watching this show and for watching Texas Cooking Today. If you would, please go to my channel. Check out what I have there. There's some wonderful recipes and some great tutorials waiting for you to try. Again, thank you very much.